Number 11. Physical keys. Remember when starting a car meant something. There was a ritual to it. You'd slide the key in, feel the teeth engage, and then that satisfying mechanical twist. The engine would cough to life while the key vibrated against your fingers. Gen Z calls this aura farming. Mercedes-Benz introduced the modern push-button start in the 1998 S-Class. Nissan followed with their intelligent key on the 2002 Altima, but it didn't become common in mainstream cars until the mid-2000s. By 2020, even most economy cars had switched to fobs, but you could still find a traditional key in base models like the Nissan Versa or Mitsubishi Mirage. The industry decided that fobs were more convenient. No more digging in your pockets, just a button that whooshes to life while you keep the key buried in your bag. But a 2023 survey of Gen Z drivers found that many prefer physical keys specifically because they can't be stolen with $50 relay attack devices from Amazon. TikTok has turned the key turn into a legitimate trend. Videos of kids starting their parents' old Hondas get tagged with aura points. The comment sections are filled with -99999 aura if you don't turn a physical key. It turns out Gen Z likes the mechanical handshake. They want to feel the starter motor engage through their fingertips. A physical key can't be hacked with a signal amplifier. It's unhackable because it's just metal. Number 10. Manual transmission. In 2020, manual transmissions hit rock bottom. Only 0.9% of new cars sold in America had 3 pedals. Dealerships were treating stick shifts like a factory mistake. If you wanted to row your own gears, your options were basically a Subaru WRX, a Mazda Miata, or a used Honda Civic with 200,000 miles. The automatic had 1. Electric cars don't even have gears. The transmission was supposed to die with the combustion engine. Then something weird happened. Gen Z started demanding manuals. By 2022, take rates had nearly doubled to 1.7%. That sounds small, but in an industry that moves millions of units, that's tens of thousands of young buyers specifically seeking out clutch pedals. A January 2023 Mini USA survey of 1,012 adults found that 67% of those aged 18 to 34 were eager to learn to drive manual, even though nearly half of Gen Z respondents admitted they currently don't know how. A quarter of all manual Miata buyers are between 18 and 35, while half of manual Acura Integra buyers are under 46. The Subaru WRX had an 86 Stavros 2 WRX had an 86.7 manual take rate in 2024, up from 79% the year before. BMW reported that 50% of M2 buyers opted for the manual in 2023. The psychology isn't about speed. Automatics are faster now. The modern automatic Supra is faster than the 1990s manual MK4 ever was, but Gen Z doesn't care. They view the manual transmission as mechanical honesty. In a world where everything is mediated by algorithms and touchscreens, a manual gearbox is binary. Either you know how to drive it or you stall in traffic. There's no software patch that can fake knowing how to heel-toe downshift. It's a skill that can't be downloaded. Before we get to the feature that was supposedly banned worldwide but actually wasn't, subscribe if you're learning something. It helps us keep making these. Number 9. Pop-up headlights. Pop-up headlights were killed by the European Union in 2004. It wasn't a global ban like everyone thinks. The EU decided that pedestrian safety regulations needed softer front ends. A pop-up headlight creates a hard point that could allegedly injure someone crossing the street. Never mind that the mechanism only popped up when the car was moving. Regulations are regulations. By the mid-2000s, every manufacturer had ditched them to maintain global compliance. The last car to have them was the 2004 Lotus Esprit. But here's the thing, they were never actually illegal in the United States. The NHTSA never banned them. They just disappeared because car companies didn't want to build different front ends for different markets. Gen Z discovered pop-ups through Forza Horizon and Gran Turismo. To them, these weren't outdated tech. They were personality traits. A car that could wink at you. The Mazda Miata NA, with its innocent anime eyes, became an overnight TikTok sensation. The R32 Nissan Skyline, the Toyota Supra MK4, the Acura NSX, cars that looked sleepy at car meets and then snapped awake when you hit the lights. At the 2026 Tokyo Auto Salon, Japanese tuner Result Japan unveiled a full conversion kit called the Neo 86 for the Toyota GT86 that includes functional pop-up headlights. While pricing wasn't officially released, similar kits from the company run $2,000 or more, and given the complexity of this wide-body conversion with functional lights, industry insiders expect it to command a significant premium. Number 8. JDM Imports. The Nissan Skyline GT-R 32 was produced from 1989 to 1994. Nissan built exactly 43,937 of them. In Japan, they called it Godzilla because it was crushing everything at the racetrack. It won every touring car championship it entered and set a Nürburgring lap record that stood for years. But America never got it new. Nissan didn't think Americans wanted a right-hand drive, turbocharged coupe with all-wheel drive and no airbags, so they kept it in Japan, which created a weird legal time bomb. Under the Imported Vehicle Safety Compliance Act, any car that is 25 years old is exempt from federal safety and emissions standards. R32 production began in May 1989, meaning the first cars hit the 25-year mark in early 2014. They started showing up at U.S. ports by the container load. In 2024, the R34 Skyline the generation Paul Walker drove in Too Fast, Too Furious finally became legal for import, creating a massive surge at ports that industry experts say rival the R32 influx of 2014. Gen Z isn't just buying these cars, they're starring in them. A clean R32 GT-R that costs $3,000 to $5,000 in Japan a decade ago now regularly commands $40,000 to $65,000 at US auction, and Gen Z is paying it, because to them, these aren't used cars, they're time machines that let them live inside the PlayStation games they grew up playing. Number 7. Cassette decks. In 2014, America bought exactly 50,000 cassette tapes. The format was supposed to be dead, buried by CDs, then MP3s, then streaming. The RIAA stopped counting them as a separate category in 2008. Then Gen Z found them. By 2023, that number had exploded to 436,400 units sold in the US alone. That's nearly a 9-fold increase. According to Luminate, Gen Z is the biggest demographic buying cassettes, with 9% of them purchasing at least one tape in the past year. Major artists like Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, and even Metallica released albums on cassette, with Olivia Rodrigo's Guts becoming the top-selling cassette in the UK in 2023. The cassette player market alone is expected to grow from $1.2 billion in 2024 to $128 billion by 2033. While tape sales continue their streak of double-digit growth, the psychology is about friction. When everything is instant on Spotify, owning a cassette forces you to listen to an album front to back. You can't skip tracks easily. You have to flip the tape halfway through. It's the opposite of the algorithm. In cars specifically, the cassette deck has become a litmus test for authenticity. A 1994 Honda Accord with a functioning tape player is worth more to a Gen Z buyer than the same car with a modern Bluetooth head unit, because the tape player proves the car hasn't been messed with. It's still living in 1994. Number 6. T-tops and Targa roofs. The Honda Del Sol is one of the weirdest cars ever made. It looked like a doorstop. It was supposed to replace the CRX. It had a removable T-top roof that you could store in the trunk. But in Japan and Europe, Honda offered something called the Trans-top. It was a mechanism where the trunk lid would rise up, robotic arms would grab the roof panel and store it for you automatically. It was completely unnecessary, ridiculously complex, and absolutely perfect. America never got the Trans-top. We got the manual version where you had to wrestle the panel off yourself. Honda killed the Del Sol in 1997 after selling only 5,603 units in its final year. The T-top was declared outdated and prone to leaks, but Gen Z has resurrected the T-top as the ultimate compromise. It's not a soft top that can get slashed or a complex retractable hard top that weighs 400 pounds. It's a panel. You take it off and suddenly you're in a convertible, but the car still has the structural rigidity of a coupe. No cowl shake, no chassis flex. The Toyota Supra MK4 with the sport roof option consistently commands significant premiums over hardtop versions, with clean examples regularly selling for 6 figures regardless of roof type. The Chevrolet Corvette C4 Targa tops are becoming collectible, because in the age of Uber and rideshare, having a car with a removable roof is the ultimate signal that this vehicle is for you. It's selfish in the best way. Number 5. Physical buttons. By 2025, most new cars look like someone glued an iPad to the dashboard. Want to adjust the temperature? That's 3 menus deep. Need to defog the windshield? Hope you don't press the wrong virtual button while bouncing over a pothole. Tesla started this trend. Everyone else followed. But the data is starting to embarrass the industry. A study by a Swedish car magazine found that physical buttons are significantly safer than touchscreens. More importantly, 69.5% of European drivers now say they prefer physical buttons. In America, the percentage is similar. Consumer Reports has started dinging cars for touchscreen-only interfaces. General Motors, which had gone all in on touchscreens, admitted customer feedback drove them to reintroduce physical buttons for climate controls on models like the 2025 Tahoe. Even Volkswagen admitted they went too far and is bringing back physical controls for volume and temperature. Gen Z is leading this charge because they grew up on touchscreens. They know how annoying it is when a screen doesn't register your touch because your fingers are cold or wet or just because the processor is lagging. They want the certainty of a click, the knowledge that when you press a button, something happens. Number 4. Bench seats. The front bench seat was murdered by the center console. Safety regulations required shoulder belts for the middle passenger, which meant a big hump in the middle of the car. Then cuolders became a religion. Then center consoles got so big they turned into office desks. By 2010, you couldn't find a front bench seat outside of a work truck. But the bench seat serves a social function that bucket seats can't replicate. 3 people in the front row. That's the classic American road trip configuration. Mom driving, dad navigating, kid in the middle controlling the radio. Chevrolet brought the front bench back for the 2025 Tahoe and Suburban, but only on the base LS trim. It's a 9-passenger configuration. 3 in front, 3 in the middle, 3 in the back. Land Rover also offers a front jump seat on the new Defender, specifically citing heritage from the original series Land Rovers. Gen Z uses cars as third spaces. They hang out in them. They eat in them. They treat them like living rooms on wheels. A bench seat turns the front of the car into a couch. It's not about practicality. It's about vibes. About being able to sit next to your friend while someone else drives. Number 3. CRT digital dashboards. In 1986, Buick put a CRT touchscreen in the Riviera. They called it the Graphic Control Center. It was a cathode ray tube, like an old television embedded in the dash. You could control the radio, the climate, the trip computer, all by touching phosphorescent green buttons on a screen. It was the future, until it wasn't. By 1990, Buick killed it. Customers found it distracting. Dealers hated explaining it. It wouldn't be until the 2000s that touchscreens came back. But Gen Z has rediscovered these analog digital displays. The Nissan 300ZX Z31 had a digital dash that looked like an airplane cockpit. The Subaru XT Turbo had a CRT display with graphics that look like an early Nintendo game. These displays have a specific aesthetic that modern LCDs can't replicate. The pixelation, the phosphor glow, the way the numbers are slightly fuzzy. It's called the Outrun aesthetic. It's retro-futuristic, the vision of the future as imagined in 1989. Number 2. Hood ornaments. Hood ornaments started disappearing in the 90s because they were theft magnets and pedestrian hazards. The Jaguar Leaper, the Mercedes Star, the Flying Ladies on classic Buicks. By 1998, even the Lincoln Town Car had deleted its hood ornament. Only Rolls-Royce kept the Spirit of Ecstasy, and they made it retractable. A standard Spirit of Ecstasy on a modern Rolls costs around $17,000 if you need to replace it. But that's the cheap one. In 2011, Rolls-Royce commissioned the Centennial Edition covered in 53 carats of diamonds. It took 350 hours to make and was valued at $250,000. Gen Z isn't buying Rolls-Royces, but they are buying 90s sedans that still have their hood ornaments intact. A Jaguar XJ6 with the Leaper still on the hood is worth more than one without it. The ornament proves the car hasn't been victimized, that it survived the 90s without getting vandalized. It's also about the aesthetic of ornamentation in an age of minimalism. Modern cars are smooth, featureless eggs. A 90s car with a hood ornament has personality. It has jewelry. Number 1. Neon underglow. Neon underglow is illegal in 9 states. Connecticut, Illinois, Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Washington all prohibit it entirely. In California, it's technically legal, but only if it emits less than 0.05 candela per square inch, which is basically dim enough that you can't see it during the day. In Texas, you can have any color you want as long as it doesn't flash and isn't red or blue. It peaked in 2001 with The Fast and the Furious. Then it became a joke. By 2010, if you had underglow, you were considered tacky, but Gen Z, who were babies when the first movie came out, have revived it. TikTok videos of cars with underglow get millions of views. LED technology has made it cheaper and easier to install than the old neon tubes. You can buy a kit on Amazon for $50. The appeal is visibility. In a world of gray crossovers, a car with purple lights glowing underneath is impossible to ignore. It's a middle finger to subtlety. Plus, it's a direct connection to the analog tuning culture of the early 2000s. Before cars were controlled by software and encrypted ECUs, you modified them with lights and body kits. It was visible, physical, and slightly illegal. Gen Z isn't rejecting progress, they're curating it. They want the mechanical soul of the 90s with the safety of today. If that means rewinding a cassette with a pencil while rowing their own gears, they're fine with it. Drop a comment telling us which feature you'd bring back, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.